everyone.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Good morning. Welcome to the home of Calgary Unitarians. It is so wonderful to look out and see people. It's just exciting to see that we're starting to get back together in person. This is absolutely fantastic. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your journey of faith or search for meaning, be it here in person or be it online, you are very, very welcome. If you were visiting us either online or in person for the first time, or the first time in a long time, know that we are grateful to have you with us. We come together in beloved community to grow in wisdom, welcome and deepen relationships, and act for a just and sustainable world. We recognize our responsibility to be stewards of this land and acknowledge that we do this with those for whom this is their traditional territory, the people of the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wellesley First Nations of the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta, signed September 22nd, 1877. Mohkinstsis, now known as the City of Calgary, is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. In offering a land acknowledgement, we honor those who have long been stewards and accept our responsibility for being good caretakers. We acknowledge the treaties were entered into as a collaboration between settlers and the Indigenous people, making us all treaty people. My name is Jane Ebbern, and I use the pronouns she, her, and I have the pleasure of serving on your Board of Trustees. This congregation is very special to me because of its celebration of freedom of religious thought, and certainly because of the warmth of its community. Please join us for this after the service for a real coffee hour in Wickenden, homemade cookies, or join us online for a Zoom coffee hour, and so we can meet and socialize and continue to build community. And now over to Shelley for the chalice lighting.
We light our chalice this morning with the words of Reverend Kathy Ryan Starr. Welcome to this place of peace. May we find some moments of quiet contemplation. Welcome to this place of celebration. May our hearts soar with gratitude for the gift of life. Welcome to this place of sacred love. May we gently hold all that is broken here. Welcome to this place of inquiry, where may we be challenged to open our minds and hearts ever wider. Come into this place of community. May we together draw the circle of love and justice ever wider. Welcome to this sacred place. Come, let us worship, celebrate, grieve, and love together. Good morning. I'm the Reverend Shelley Thompson. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the interim minister here at Calgary Unitarians. Happy vernal equinox. As of about an hour ago, we just went right through the ascending node of our orbit. Here in Calgary, that means we'll have equal parts sunshine and snow, right? Right? And it is also Nowruz, the Persian New Year today. So this is celebrated in many countries by people of many faiths, and it is a holy day for the Zoroastrians and for certain Muslim communities. So Happy New Year to our siblings. We do have one very short, important piece of information from Alex Schumacher this morning. Now, normally we're not going to have announcements on Sunday mornings, but this is an important piece of church business. So Alex is going to give us a 2 minutes or less
I promise.
update on the search for the search committee.
Okay, this is my appeal for more nominations for the search committee for the settled minister. So far, we have 11 responses, just 11. We need all of you, everybody here, everybody out there in the wider world to be responding. So please, please respond, and respond to the email address that's given in the e-news this week. In addition to a number of requirements that was put out by the UUA in terms of the qualification for candidates, which are things like availability and willingness to participate as a member of the committee, able to work with others, able to work with the whole congregation, knowledgeable about the history, culture, and strengths and weaknesses of the congregation, and knowledgeable about the essential precepts and history of Unitarianism, and participating actively in the congregation. There are some characteristics which are special to this community that we need to take into account in trying to nominate somebody who will be good representatives on this committee. And the first is really the sort of community stability and resilience that we have. We are mostly a rather aged community. We need to be able to attract younger people in, and we need people who can keep that in mind when selecting the new minister. We have financial viability issues to look at. We need people who will be able to take that into account in selecting or helping to select a new minister. The format of our services is changing. We have a few of us here. We have a few of people out there in the ethers. And so the new minister will have to deal with that as a reality. And we also have the debate on what we should do with this building. Do we keep it? Do we leave? Do we share with somebody else? There are a lot of big decisions which have to be made there. And again, it's necessary that people keep that in mind in trying to nominate people for the search committee. So, with that in mind, please, please, please make your nominations, 4 or 5 people. And if you've already made a nomination and want to change your mind, that's no problem. We can deal with that. So please do that this week. Thanks.
Yay. Thanks to Alex and Leslie Robinson for taking on the Searching for the Searchers task. It's a big one. We appreciate it. And we do have a very special coffee hour coming up with apple pie, courtesy of Liz, by way of Dorothy DeBeach sending her love and affection to us all. So we're going to show our love with food, one of my favorite traditions at church. So definitely come to coffee hour after church and have pie with us. Yay. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Stewardship Sunday, one of my favorite times of the year. In this month of renewing faith, we are also renewing our commitment to support and sustain our beloved faith community that supports and sustains all of us and is a great benefit to the city of Calgary. In the words of John Saxon, this religious community exists by its mission as a fire exists by burning, but a fire cannot burn without fuel. And it is the time, the energy, the imagination, the vision, the creativity, the compassion, the love, and the financial support of the members and friends of this community that fuels our mission to nurture and sustain a welcoming, inclusive, and diverse liberal religious community that transforms lives and serves the world. And one of those ways that we show our commitment is through an annual pledge of financial support. The pledge is important because it gives us an idea of how much you think you're going to be able to contribute financially over the course of the next fiscal year. We use that very important information to make our budget, and that budget determines the size of our mission, the size of our ministry. It's what keeps us running around here. So knowing what you think you're going to be able to give is really crucial information for those who are on our financial team and our board of trustees who work so hard to maximize all of our capabilities and energies to serve each other and this world. And of course, pledges can be paid in a lot of ways. Stewardship has all that information. We'll be talking about that a little bit more. But it is such important information. And it's really not about the amount, the large or small. It's about giving until it feels really good to you, that you're making a contribution that matters to you because you love this place, because you care about it, because it helps you express your values in the world. That you need it and it needs you, and you want to be a part of what is the amazing quality of faith community, that we can do so much more together than any one of us can do alone. For our opening hymn this morning, I have chosen the song Grateful from an artist named Nemo Patel. For the past 10 years, Nemo has been serving and working with the underprivileged communities in the Gandhi Ashram in India. And most recently, Nemo has reconnected to his roots of music. He's a rap artist, and he's offering the gift of his love, peace, and oneness through his songs, an offering that he calls Empty Hands Music. All of his music and videos are free gifts to the world to inspire goodness, he tells us. We're gonna let him do the rapping, but the chorus is easy and we can sing along. It's all that I am, all that I've seen, all that I've been, Canadian style, right? Seen and been rhyme. All that I've seen, all that I've been, all that I'll ever be. It's a blessing. It's amazing. And I'm grateful for it all. That's our chorus, and then we get to sing the na-na-na-na-na-na-nas. So help me when the chorus comes around, we'll sing together. Here's Nemo.
You're my life, you're my breath, you're a smile, you're my guest. You're the earth, you're the sun, you're the grass, you are love. You're my hands, you're a bug, you're my eyes, you're a hug. You're the light in the dark, you're the spark, you are fun. You're my mom, you are water, you're the stars, you're my daughter. You're my friend till the end, you're my dreams, you're my father. You're the ants on the ground, the miracles that surround. I'm feeling it all around, the hemisphere in the clouds. You're my pain, you're my sorrow, my hope for tomorrow. You're the strength when I'm hollow. You're the path that I follow. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything
All
is a
that
gift.
I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all. Grateful for it
You're the
all.
blessings every time I try to count. You're the lessons that I learned every time I turn around. You're the water when I'm burned every time I think I found everything I'm looking for. You're the sign saying stop to take a bow and keep moving forward and start looking towards your heart. It'll open all the doors and only then you'll start to hear the world singing chorus with your mind and heart. Aligned in purpose, everything
All
will feel
that I
gorgeous.
all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all.
Every day I sit and pray cause what I have is more than I deserve or could ever imagine. How do I give back to all of this magic and spread the love so everybody can have it? Doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, if I got a family or if I'm all alone. Bad things happen, I can just complain and moan. But there's a million things that I can be grateful for.
So I lift up my hands now, and I open my heart, and my gratitude goes out to everything near and far. All that I am,
Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift.
That feels good. And now we are going to hear via video from Jane Ebbern, who's going to share her gratitude reflection with us, her testimony of why Calgary Unitarians is so important in her life. And following that piece of good news, we're going to hear from Meredith Simon, who is the chair of our extraordinary stewardship team. And Meredith couldn't come in person today, but she's going to tell you about what's been happening with stewardship and why it's important that we get those pledges in. We don't have enough information yet to make a really awesome budget. So she'll talk to us about that. And then we will move on to Candles of Care and Concern and some more singing. So lots more goodness to come. But first, let's watch Jane and Meredith.
Hello, my name is Jane Ebbern, and I have been a member of Calgary Unitarians since 1998. I came initially wanting a non-dogmatic approach to spirituality, and I have stayed for that, and also for the warmth of a wonderful group of like-minded people. And over the years, Calgary Unitarians has greatly increased in importance in my life. I started as a minor pledger and as a casual Sunday service participant, but within a few years, I was heading up a committee, which is absolutely the best way to get to know a lot of people. And before you knew it, I was on the local board and then on the national board and now back on the local board. And along the way, I became vice president of fruitcake operations. All good fun. As I deepened my involvement with Calgary Unitarians and came to appreciate how much it gives to me, to its members, and to the broader Calgary community, I also increased my annual pledge. While I give to many other charities, I give by far the most each month to Calgary Unitarians. I strongly believe we need more Unitarians in Calgary. And I think that there are many like-minded souls out there, but they just don't know about us yet. We need to get out there in the community while still attending to our members' needs. But to do this requires a strong financial commitment. We have two particularly exciting programs that I consider our stars. Our amazing music program run by the talented Jane Perry, and our inspiring child and youth religious education program run by the creative Sheila McMaster. Both these programs have had setbacks and challenges during COVID, but I am sure we can, with your support, get them back to pre-COVID levels and beyond. Jane's music offerings online have provided such joy and community to many during these last 2 years. And personally, I was thrilled to hear her play our grand piano for the few in-person services we had this fall. And Jane has some great new program ideas like an outdoor summer camp and a justice choir in time. But to implement these, we need your support. As for our religious education program, one thing that Calgary Unitarians has done very well in the past, I think, is turning out well-rounded, caring, compassionate, and involved young people who have developed their own personal religious creeds. I never cease to be amazed at how better prepared these young Unitarians are for being great citizens of the world than I ever was at the age of 18. The values taught here at Calgary Unitarians are largely responsible for this. So please take some time to think about how much this community means to you and pledge accordingly. I do a monthly bank debit that is easy for me to budget for and allows Calgary Unitarians to count on this regular income. And in addition to my monthly pledging, I have also added a codicil to my will with a Calgary Unitarian bequest, because I want this wonderful faith community to survive and indeed to thrive well beyond me. Please consider joining me in monthly pledging and in a bequest to your will. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane, for those inspiring words. And welcome everyone to our annual Commitment and Celebration Sunday. I'm Meredith Simon, a member of the stewardship team. I personally am firmly committed to this congregation. I'm a lifelong Unitarian, and I really believe that having a liberal religious voice in our community is very important. And I'm celebrating the wonderful folks in our congregation and all the wonderful activities we have to do. In order to maintain our wonderful staff, our marvelous staff, to pay them well, and that would include a cost of living, we need to think seriously about increasing our pledges this year, if possible. Here is a picture of what has happened so far this year. The number of pledges is the blue box on the left on your screen, and the goal that we have would be over 100 pledging units. And on the green side is the amount of money that's been pledged so far. And the goal is just over $200,000. And we really need to try and meet this goal because our budget is very tight due to our unusual circumstances of the pandemic still continuing. We need to try and increase our pledges this year if it's at all possible. And for people who have not yet pledged to actually do so, we would really appreciate that. And the other reason to get your pledge in by Saturday, the 26th, next Saturday, is this wonderful gift basket you can see behind me, full of all kinds of goodies. We will have a draw during the service on March 27th, next Sunday, for all the names will be in the draw for the basket of all the people who have put in their pledge by Saturday, the 26th. And I have the privilege that Sunday afternoon, next Sunday, to deliver this basket to one lucky winner. Thank you very much.
Come get that basket. That is impressive. I think that's the biggest gift basket I've ever seen. Very exciting. So you can see by our numbers, we're just lacking information right now. We need to know what's going on with you and what you're anticipating pledging so that we can then make that budget with confidence so we can talk about it this spring. We'll have some town halls to talk about it, and then we'll get to vote on it at our annual meeting May 1st. So we look forward to hearing from more of you, and we have time for that later today. Now is the time we take to share our joys and concerns with one another, the celebrations, the good news, the hard things, the sorrows, the grief, the things that are just too important not to be shared. Of course, we continue to think of Jane and Cora as she continues her journey, and all of those who are displaced by war, this continuing crisis in Ukraine, anyone and everyone who's facing injustice and warfare and violence of any kind. I'm going to give a shout out today to absolutely everyone we love. Hold everyone in your hearts, bring them in here with us. The children, the grandchildren. Oh, our grandchildren, what precious, precious beings who give us so much hope. And to all of you, my beloveds, we're sending peace, comfort, and beauty. During our song, another piece by Nemo called Prayer, I invite you to come forward and light candles or place a pebble or stone, however you want to call it, into our water over here. I light a candle for all of the joys and celebrations and good news, the Happy New Year, the equinox. I light a candle for the sorrows, the challenges, the struggles, the darn newspaper, and a global candle, because we are all one family.
Well, I'm sitting here in silence, sending people smiles and realizing when we send out love, it keeps on rising. So I choose to close my eyelids to send positive vibes into every living being, from the ocean to the skies. And as I look at all the crisis, I realize that I just can send my love and prayers that will make it through this virus. To me, this is all priceless, to transform all the violence through sacrifice and trying, sitting on this cushion silent. May all beings be happy, peaceful and non-violent. May not one being suffer in their minds, even the tyrants. May all souls find alignment with their hands, their hearts and minds. And may all of us keep walking and persevere in these times with love.
Ooh, I'm sending prayers out to you. I'm sending prayers out to you. I'm sending prayers out to you. Sending prayers out sending prayers out to you. I'm sending prayers out to you. Ooh, I'm sending prayers out to you. I'm sending prayers out to you. I'm sending prayers out to you.
Stewardship, it's about taking care of something we value and enabling it to grow. And giving is meant to be a joyous process. It has the potential to help us grow spiritually because we're making a difference in what is most meaningful to us. In our tradition, we often speak of time, talent, and treasure as the interconnected web of stewardship gifts. For a different perspective, I share with you the teachings of Eric Law. He's an Episcopal priest and author. He's dedicated to the creation of sustainable faith communities and is an expert in multiculturalism. He expands the model of stewardship to what he calls the cycle of blessings. I like this model because it's really integrated and dynamic. It's process relational. It's all about people and relationships. You've certainly heard me say before, it's our shared process theology of how we choose to be with one another that makes Unitarian Universalism so special. Well, the cycle of blessings names 6 gifts or holy currencies that we generously give and receive as active members in our faith community. And it's these abundant, freely flowing gifts that sustain our shared mission as we put our values into action. He tells us, the word currency comes from the medieval Latin word currentia, which literally means a flowing, and from the Latin word currere, which means to run or to flow. Merriam-Webster defines currency as something that is in circulation as a medium of exchange. He says, I would like to ride on the word something in this definition and explore the concept of currency beyond just money. He says, when I researched different sustainable ministries, really well-running congregations, and how they functioned, 6 currencies or mediums of exchange kept surfacing as the keys to their success. Time and place, gracious leadership, relationship, truth, wellness, and money. These are not the only currencies, for others are at work in many sustainable and missional ministries, but he simply points out that these are the essential ones that a sustainable and mission-based ministry must have circulating through its operation, interacting not only within the membership, but also in a nice open exchange with the wider community. If we're just here working with ourselves and for ourselves, we're not going to have very much impact in the wider world, and we won't be sustainable. So in his holy currencies model, you can think of these 6 currencies flowing in a circle. It's a system. They all interact to co-create the sustainable mission of the congregation. We're always generously giving and receiving in all of these ways, with relationship with one another and out there in the community, like with Calgary Alliance for the Common Good, with the CUC, with everybody that we serve. So this cycle of blessings is a dynamic process of authentically living our faith together and making the world a better place. He helps us understand these from his point of view. Time and place, of course, time. We're showing up, we're participating, we're being present with one another. And then our place, our building, the places where we do ministry. That's something that we're going to be paying a lot of attention to in the coming couple of years. How do we share this place? If we were only here on Sunday, then we wouldn't be keeping that currency flowing. When it's not COVID times, as we know, we have a lot of choirs that rent here, we hold meetings here, we have potlucks. We do a lot to maximize the currency of place with what we have to offer our community. The currency of gracious leadership. It's the ability to use our skills, our tools, everything at our disposal to create gracious environments within which mutually respectful relationships and the discernment of all of the different varieties of truth that are out there. We all know we each bring our own truths. We want to seek those together across differences. With gracious leadership, we can do that together. So it's like our covenant. We're doing this in covenant with one another. That currency of relationship, we're familiar with that. The internal and external networks of mutually respectful connections that leaders and members have with programs, teams, events, worship, again, our Calgary Alliance, the CUC, the Interfaith Council, all of the music makers out there that we interact with, the children and families, all of those relationships within and among us and beyond into Calgary. The currency of truth is what he calls it, this free and responsible search for truth and meaning that we're aware of, using our values and our beliefs in the goodness of people and the ability to do better together. We're going to bring that faith with us into our relationships, into our justice work, into our outreach, these fundamental truths that we believe about what is good and right in this world. He talks about the currency of wellness. I like that one. The state of being healthy physically, socially, economically, ecologically, spiritually within this community and in Calgary, the neighborhood, the town, the city, the nation, the planet Earth. This is something that's so important to us. This is where our justice work is rooted. This is where our environmental outreach, our outreach to those who have food scarcity. We're looking for everyone to have wellness. We want to increase the wellness, the human flourishing of the world around us, and nurture and sustain one another's wellness. Catherine's teaching us a meditation and mindfulness class right now that is about that kind of wellness that we can cultivate within ourselves so that we can then bring it and share it with others as a currency, a flowing relationship with one another. And of course, there's this currency of money that we have to deal with in the imperialist, patriarchy, capitalist society that we live in. But it is a medium of exchange, of being able to demonstrate what is of value to us. So we want to be able to provide from a place that feels good, that we feel pleased with ourselves for being generous in supporting this community and its ministries and all that we are together, that is so much more than any one of us could do alone. He tells us he really wants to drive home 3 points. He says it's the flowing, the constant exchange of all of these things that makes them valuable. If they were static, if they weren't flowing, they wouldn't be of much use to us. Number 2, he says we have to do all of these things together. If you're really just only doing 1 or 2 of these things, you're not going to be sustainable because you're not going to be rooted in that mission, that purpose and meaning of what it truly means to be people of faith in this world and to put our values into action to serving one another and the wider world. We have to do all of these things together. And then he tells us that the flowing of these currencies has to recirculate back to replenish what was spent. It's a perpetual cycle so that the ministry can be regenerative. It's always restoring and renewing itself, and in that way can then continue to give and nurture and grow with the society around it. He says this, in most cases, when the cycle of blessing is a spinning ministry, it not only replenishes the initial investment, but it can increase them. And he's not just talking about money. The cycle of blessings is the dynamic exchange of these 6 currencies flowing inward to renew and strengthen our internal relationships and increase our gracious leadership capacity. And then it flows outward to connect, discern truth, foster wellness in the wider community. Learning how to develop, access, and flow these currencies are essential skills that members of the church must have in order for the church to be sustainable and missional. So that's what our Connecting with Community campaign with stewardship is all about this year. It really makes sense, doesn't it? It makes me think of Henry Nelson Wyman, who was a process theologian. He talks about creative interchange. The way that we all interact is a creative interchange, and he believes it's in these exchanges that we find the real nature of the divine, or what some might call God. It comes from all of these wonderful, flowing interactions and relationships. I want to draw your attention to the gorgeous brochure that Stewardship made for us. We have an outline on the front of what's been going on for the past 5 years, but especially I want to draw your attention to the inside of this. So when we talk about an operating budget, that sounds so dry. It sounds like we're talking about the light bill. And yes, we do like to keep the lights on, but we're talking about our mission. And they have named and outlined for us 6 vital, amazing areas of church life here. We have vibrant Sunday worship, and that includes all of our music programs. It includes Sheila and our storytelling. We're gonna see our kids. Our kids are coming back next week, woo! We're gonna have awesome worship. We know we love coffee hour. Sundays are a great place to be at Calgary Unitarians. We have spiritual growth. That includes all of the choirs. It includes our small group ministries and learning circles. It includes all of our theme-based discussions and discernment together, everything in adult religious education, like Catherine's mindfulness course, and so much more to come. I know you all have gifts that you've just been waiting for 2 years to get in here and share with us. Spiritual growth, one of the reasons we come to church. Building beloved community, that's one of our favorites, isn't it? We love that one. All of the welcoming we do, becoming radically inclusive and welcoming. We have had things in the past like dinner fast, talent auction, cabaret. Oh my gosh, there's so many great things that we do. We have movie nights that are back now on our 3rd Friday nights. Our CU Fridays are happening again in person. So many ways to build beloved community that we're looking forward to bringing those things back. And then we share our abundance. We participate in Calgary Alliance. We participate out in the community. We do our For Others giving. We provide so much support. We have lay chaplains who serve our community. There's so much we do to interact and to give back. It's one of the things that's a defining characteristic of this congregation in particular, is that strong, strong commitment and belief that we need to be serving others. We need to be pouring out all of this love and support and belief in the goodness of humans back out into Calgary, that we really can and do make a difference. And that includes all of our outreach and social justice as well, which is an integrated part of all of this. It's not something separate that we do. It's something that we really work on, all of us together, all the time, in all of these different ways. So I encourage you to take a look at this if you haven't already. There's more of them in the back, and they're gorgeous. And there's even pictures. We're trying to get better at putting pictures and everything. You can see the smiling faces of your friends and loved ones here at Calgary Unitarians, and really feel so good about yourselves. Really, be proud of yourselves when you look at this and you see this incredible community that you sustain. You are Calgary Unitarians, and you make this happen. Celebrate yourselves. Put this on the fridge. It'll make you smile every day. It's very important. And so now I encourage us, as our time of meditation, to think about those 6 areas: vibrant Sunday worship, empowering children and youth, spiritual growth, building beloved community, outreach and social justice, and sharing our abundance. Think for a little bit about how you have contributed to all of those areas at one time or another. What makes this place special and important to you? What is of value to you about being a part of Calgary Unitarians? Let's take a few moments and think about that while we listen to some music. And now is the time for our ceremony of commitment, our celebration of all that is good and right in this Calgary Unitarians world. Reverend John Wolfe wrote, feel free to come on up, Duff, and Jane's going to help me. We have a reading to start us off. There's only one reason for joining a Unitarian Universalist church, and that is to support it. You want to support it because it stands against superstition and fear, because this church points to what is noblest and best in human life, because it's open to women and men and siblings of whatever race, creed, color, place of origin, or sexual orientation. You want to support it because a Unitarian Universalist church has a free pulpit, because you can hear ideas expressed there which would cost any other minister their job. You want to support it because it's a place where children come without being saddled with guilt or terrified of some celestial peeping Tom, where they can learn that religion is for joy, for comfort, and for gratitude and for love. You want to support it because it's a place where walls between people are torn down rather than built up, because it's a place for the religious displaced persons of our time, the refugees from mixed marriages, the unwanted free thinkers, and those who insist against orthodoxy that they must work out their own beliefs. You want to support a UU church because it's more concerned with human beings than with dogmas, because it searches for the holy rather than dwelling upon the depraved, because it calls no one a sinner, yet knows how deep is the struggle in each person's breast and how great is the hunger for what is good. You want to support a UU church because it can laugh, because it stands for something in a day when religion is still more concerned with platitudes than with prejudice and war. You want to support it not because it buys you some insurance policy toward your funeral service, but because it insults neither your intelligence nor your conscience, and because it calls you to worship what is truly worthy of your sacrifice. There's only one reason for joining a Unitarian Universalist church: to support it.
Hi, I'm Duff Bond, and I'm a member of, guess what, your stewardship team.
Woo, woo, woo! Oh, yeah.
We've all been asked to think about how much this congregation means to us and to consider how we can support this vital part of our lives with our time and talent and our treasure. This pandemic era has been a difficult time, and our congregation needs our help. For those who have logged in from home and would like to submit a pledge today, in time to be included in the draw next Sunday for our scrumptious gift basket, we have a way for you to do that. Just go to our website, calgaryunitarians.ca, and click on the donate button. That page has both donations and pledges on it, so you're away to the races. I encourage those who are here in Panabaker Hall, it's a small but valiant group, I think. As you are willing and able, to come up to the front via the left-hand aisle when I'm finished speaking. If you have your pledge form with you, you can place it in the big shiny bowl over here. Ooh. If you've already submitted your pledge online or you haven't yet filled out the form, come on up anyway. There will be several people here to greet you. There's me representing stewardship, and Reverend Shelley and Jane Eburn are our board president. We can greet each other. Usually we do this with shaking hands, but maybe we can bump fists or elbows or something this time to keep us all safe. That's the new way of shaking hands, I'm told, the bumping fists. And before you go back to your seats, we're going to gather over here and get a picture. Also, we have some token gifts here, some swag from Calgary Unitarians, so everybody gets something to take home with them. By the way, if you left your pledge at home, or you didn't receive a pledge form and you'd really like one, we have some blank ones on the table by the back door, just outside that door. Better hurry, they're going fast.
That's right.
If you'd like someone to take your pledge to the front and pick up your swag for you, just raise your hand and we'll have a stewardship team member do that for you. Jeff can probably leap up and do that if anyone wants it, right?
Thanks, Jeff.
Anyway, we'll just move down to the front here and we'll be ready to bump fists.
And again, we want every person in the room to come up. So it doesn't matter if you've turned it in, you haven't turned it in, you're still thinking about it. Everybody contributes to this Calgary Unitarian. So you're all going to come up here and get a pen and get a thank you and a fist bump if you like. And we want to see your smiling faces on our website. And now this is the moment where we do our regular offering of generosity and support, because we're still in our current fiscal year. We have about 4 more months on this budget as an opportunity to fulfill the pledges that got made last year and continue to provide all of this wonderful ministry for one another. Jane has agreed to help us pass our baskets today. This is a sacred ritual that we participate in, where once again we have this opportunity to share our generosity with one another and with the wider world, to put our values out there into action. Our For others this month is Permeate, which is an amazing group of young adults who are committed to climate justice and sustainability. And 2 of them are actually members of our RE staff and work with our children and our youth. And they are in the process of creating a beautiful permaculture garden at the Center for Spiritual Living down on the southwest side, where it's very industrial. And in order to help them with that project, we are going to make a directed donation of your funds to the Center for Spiritual Living with specific instructions to buy gardening supplies for Permeate to make that garden. We're cultivating this relationship with these young folks because they're very much the kind of people that understand what we're all about here at Calgary Unitarians and are going to help us spread the word to that young adult demographic. And there's also some incredible artists in their midst, and we have great hopes that one of these days we'll be able to make a mural together and just continue to do some wonderful things. So we thank you very much for your generous support of this congregation and of Permeate. I get to hear a bouncy rendition of Come and Go With Me on the piano by Jane. Going to extinguish our chalice, but not the fire of commitment in our hearts. My dear ones, I love this closing from my friend, Reverend Wayne Arneson. He says, "Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there's another truth. You are not alone." Again, I invite you all to join us for coffee and pie here in person. Stay online for the coffee chat. There will be a link appearing after we sing. And thank you, thank you, thank you for your generous support and for making Calgary Unitarians such a special, special community. Please rise, embody your spirit, and join me in singing nice and loud so the folks at home can hear us. Fire of Commitment.
From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when a hunger and a passion needs to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when a hunger and a passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then a promise finds fulfillment and a future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice filled by a courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when a hunger and a passion meet to call us on our way, when